Hello, Shield School of Business. I am Marlena Krug, and I will be your host on this week's Senior Spotlight. This week, we have someone very involved on campus. She's a cheer captain, Vice President of Equity and Belonging for Delta Phi Epsilon, and AMA's Homecoming nomination. Can you guess who it is? The guessing is over. This interview will be senior marketing major Lizzy Frank, and I will be asking her questions on her summer internship that has gone into this school year. This interview will talk about artificial intelligence in the business world, media marketing, and much more. All right, I'm here with Lizzy. Let's jump into things. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. All right, so I'm going to start with the first question. So can you tell us a little bit about the company or organization where you did your internship? And bigger question, how did you get this internship?
I got this internship from our very own Dr. Flanders. I walked into her office one day and I said, I need a summer internship, and she hooked me right up. So I work for a woman named Iris Goldfeder, who owns Gas Stove Creative, which is a boutique marketing firm based out in Lafayette, Indiana.
That's great, Lizzy. That's so good. That's such a great way to network. I love that about St. Francis, how it was so easy for you to find such an internship just through your professors. It's really helpful on a small campus like this. Bigger campuses don't get this kind of luxury like we do. But like I just said, St. Francis is the best. So was there any classes that prepared you for this internship? Or what was the biggest change you've seen from classwork to the workplace?
So classes that have prepared me were definitely all of the marketing ones, even just back to Marketing 101, learning those basics and then taking it over into the actual business world. I would say some of the biggest changes are, rather than doing it for a grade, I have to understand I'm actually doing it for somebody's business. I'm getting paid to do it, and the work that I'm doing is helping her get paid, feed her family. I'm able to have some spending money here while I'm on campus. So I would just say the biggest change is definitely not just doing it for my own interest for a grade, but rather doing it for a business and a brand.
That's amazing. I also feel like, just like from the small business I work at, like I feel like I'm also constantly like looking back at things from like Marketing 101 or just stuff that I learned that kind of helped me kind of grow in the small business I work for. Were there any specific marketing strategies or campaigns you were involved in that stood out to you?
So in her marketing firm, she works with a lot of small businesses in her area, and one of them is a pest management company, and I do a lot of his graphics, so I would say his campaigns are much more different for me to work on because that's not my forte, you could say, but I think they kind of stand out to me because it's making me a more well-rounded marketer.
That's great. It's really good that you got to learn, especially on things that like you're not really interested in. You know, you're a young girl in your 20s. An extermination business is not something you would see yourself in, but it's really good for later on that you kind of learned and grasped how to market for something like that. If there was a project you were working on, who did you look at, or what resources did you look for some advice?
I always turned to Dr. Flanders because she's obviously the one who helped me land this gig, but she's also so intelligent and insightful when it comes to tips on marketing and communications as well. So she was a really big help and a really big resource for me. And of course, I also look to my boss. She's a really big help, and she's also quite smart. She's been in the business for decades.
That's really good that you have some type of like mentor to look at for these things. So I'm going to say that in 2024, you probably also did a little bit of AI. So I've heard a lot about AI in marketing. Did you get to work with any AI tools during your internship?
I do. So I work with it's called Magi, which means I'm able to put Iris's voice into the AI thing, and I give it a prompt, and it types out something that's supposed to be in her voice. Obviously, it still is AI generated, so I do have to tweak it a little bit, but it does give me a better base to work off of, and I use that for almost all the posts that I post for her.
Wow, so honestly, that kind of answered my next question too. I was wondering like how AI improved efficiency or decision making in the marketing campaigns you worked on, but that's a really good way you worded it. Can you give an example of a project where AI played a key role in the shaping strategy or outcomes you had?
So every Tuesday we post a clip of her podcast, and I have to give, in the post, the caption of it, we have to give an intro of the guest, and then kind of like a little bit of an overview of maybe what the podcast was about or what the clip is about. And I always type into AI, like, here's the guest bio, and here's kind of what the clip is about. Can you just give me like a little bit of a LinkedIn post? And then it gives it out to me, and then I go through and I make my edits, and then that is what ends up on LinkedIn.
Honestly, that's kind of a great way to kind of like, I know for me, sometimes I need to see something else in order for my own brainstorming to work. So honestly, I think this is a great resource. Do you think AI, though, has changed the skills required for a successful career in marketing? Do you think it's kind of stopped people's thinking?
I don't think it's necessarily stopped my thinking. I do find myself definitely struggling sometimes, like to get back to like where I was before, like just completely like straight out of my mind. But I would say I still definitely use all the skills that I've learned in school, and I'm trying to wean off the AI so much because I would like to keep my mind quite sharp in that.
You are a very creative person, and I'm really glad that you got to learn a lot of lessons through AI in the marketing world. And honestly, it's really good that you recognize that AI can't stop your creativity. So I think that'll really benefit you in your future career. What advice would you give someone seeking an internship in the marketing field?
I would say get yourself out there, go to all the job fairs, ask your professors, ask your friends, get on LinkedIn, look it up, get on Handshake. It's the best thing you can do in marketing is honestly probably the connections you make. So as long as you market yourself, you can get into marketing.
I love that. Well, thank you for networking with me. We are honored to have you on Senior Spotlight. I hope all of you at the SSOB enjoyed having Lizzy Frank on today as our co-host. She was amazing, and I hope we all learned lovely marketing lessons from her and also learned many more things about St. Francis University and the business world. Goodbye.